This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Wednesday, hump day, fun show. We got a lot of guests, very exciting stuff today. Colin's new best buddy, Roger Goodell, you may have heard of him, commissioner of the NFL, went on the herd today and said he would have no reservations about handing the Lombardi trophy to Mr. Tom Brady. If you believe that, fill in the blank. Whitlock believes Matt Ryan and Julio Jones will be too much for the Patriots. Hey, should I send Whitlock some tape of the Rams' greatest show on turf against Bill Belichick? They kind of had, I think, a couple Hall of Famers in Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt, and I kind of think they got shut down. Hall of Famer Chris Carter breaks down why Jerry Jones is playing it cool in order to drive up the asking price on Tony Romo. Gosh, I can't wait for this. What is it, 4 more months of Tony Romo drama? This is going to be so exciting. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard is in the house. We talk LeBron and super teams. We're actually on the same side on this one. New FS1 NFL analyst Greg Jennings says the Patriots defense might be ranked number 1, but they've never seen an offense like the Atlanta Falcons. We talk a little Dabo Sweeney. Eric Mangini stops by with some X's and O's. This show needs more X's and O's. Are you ready for Speak For Yourself? Cowherd and Whitlock, take it away.
Hello and welcome. Joining the panel today are Hall of Famer Chris Carter and former NFL head coach Eric Mangini. All right, guys, let's start with Roger Goodell, who appeared on the herd this morning. And Colin asked him the question that's been on everybody's mind. How would the commissioner feel about handing the Lombardi trophy to the man he battled over Deflategate, Tom Brady?
Not for a second. This is one of the great opportunities. We have 2 dominant teams playing the Super Bowl. The Patriots and Falcons have both earned the opportunity to be there. They deserve it. And whoever wins that championship is going to have to earn it because these are great teams. And so I'm going to be thrilled. Tom Brady is one of the all-time greats. He has been for several years. He's on the precipice of at least potentially winning his 5th Super Bowl ring. He's an extraordinary player, great performer, and a surefire Hall of Famer, so it would be an honor.
Colin, I buy every word the commissioner said, but I wonder, would Brady be honored receiving the Lombardi trophy from Roger Goodell?
Yes. Listen, I just watched Trump and Hillary get along in front of the cameras, okay? Listen, these are 2 big brands. The NFL, which Roger Goodell represents, and Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time. Like, they can't, A, play nice for 2 minutes, and B, this is an unbelievable moment. This could be the last time Tom's ever been here. I don't think he's for a second worried about that.
I know, but you're talking about the 2 minutes. I believe Roger Goodell for an hour, for weeks after. He will be honored giving that trophy to one of the greatest players of all time. Tom may fake for 2 minutes honored. In reality, he may feel vindicated. He may feel like, hey, the biggest I told you so moment in the history of sports.
But you can still be honored and feel those. Listen, here's what we know about Tom. You know him better than I do. Tom is probably the most focused guy in the world. If you're married to a supermodel and won't have a cocktail for 9 months a year, that's what I call focus.
That's what I call good living.
This is not somebody he doesn't get caught up in Twitter wars and social media. Tom's on point always. I mean, he's almost robotic sometimes, but then we see the occasional fist pump. I don't think this is one of these things that we live off of. I don't think they care.
Well, he's been living off of it a little bit.
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters who gives him the trophy. If he gets that trophy, you could have a drone deliver it. It's just about the moment. I think the only guy that could really move him is if you had someone like Joe Montana give him the trophy because he's breaking that record. It was his childhood here. I think that would make the moment.
Terry Bradshaw's going to be giving it to him.
I understand Terry as well, but I'm just saying he grew up idolizing Joe. I think that would be a really special moment for him. But in terms of the commissioner, yeah, it's going to be nice, but it's about the moment as opposed to who gives him the trophy.
I think that Belichick and New England and Tom Brady, they do a great job of compartmentalizing all situations of their life and of the football game. So there's no need to be worried about something that's going to be a celebration. Tom, as Coach said, he doesn't care who gives that trophy to him. He doesn't care if the trophy's broke. As long as his team wins. That's what Tom Brady is about. Like all these other things, they're superficial. Tom's already won. We saw what happened after the Indy game when they start checking the footballs. They went to the Super Bowl, right? What happened in that game? Tom Brady was outstanding. Tom Brady got suspended this year. He came back, played 12 games. What has he been since then? Nothing but outstanding. With regulation balls, with a different procedure in checking the footballs. So to me, Tom Brady, this is going to be the culmination of a tremendous career. And it will be a celebration not only of a team, but it will be a celebration of Tom Brady and his whole career.
Yeah, Brady said something this week. It may have been on Boston radio or something. And he said, you know, with Bill, he does a great job. This was the brainwashing quote. But before he said brainwashing, he said we don't get caught up in moments. It's all about, like, the process. And the trophy is a moment. They're not going to get caught up in a moment. Like, Bill isn't just an outcome guy. He's a process guy.
I know, but you guys are just evaluating what they're going to fake. And because again, Tom Brady, and this emotion has driven him all season, he felt like he was wrong. Yeah. If that's legitimate, and if he feels like I talked about yesterday, like he was used as a pawn to satisfy some political cover.
We don't know that he thinks that.
But again, if he feels that way, he could take the trophy from Goodell, be very short with him, and make it about not a conversation.
The number one way when people criticize you, your ability, or potentially your integrity, the way to get back is we've all been other places. Coaches coached on several teams. You worked at other networks. You worked at other networks. The way to get back is to be good. Be good and be on TV and still be in the game. So for Tom Brady, he's going to be good in the Super Bowl. And whatever happens, they are doing nothing to prepare for the trophy ceremony. They're doing everything to prepare for everything that would lead to them handing that trophy over to him.
Look, I was with Bill for 12 years, and it's like living life with noise-canceling headphones on. you aren't worried about anything besides what's in front of you. And you made a great point. It's about moments, but the moment it's about is the moment you are in. You don't care about what happened in the past because you can't do anything about that, and you don't care about what's happening in the future because you don't control that. All you control is the moment you're in right now, and that's what everybody zeroes in on, and you do it day in and day out.
Welcome back. Chris Carter, Hall of Famer with us. Multiple Pro Bowler, Greg Jennings, new Fox NFL analyst. Well-dressed, too. What's in competition? Let's head to Dallas, where Jerry Jones spent all year talking about Tony Romo's future. Almost got tired of it, but not quite. Now everybody wants to stop talking about it. A day after Romo appeared in a photo with Denver GM John Elway, Jero was asked if he'd communicated with Romo about his future. He had this to say.
I'm not going to get into that at all, whether we've talked or not. We're at a juncture now that we need to just cool it in our public conversations about what we're going to be doing or not doing there with Tony.
All right, Jace, you think Jerry's ready to part ways with Tony?
Ready? No. I think he's resigned to the fact, though, that it's going to happen. I think he's a little bit emotional about it, tired of talking about it, resigned to the fact that one of his favorite players of all time will be leaving. And I also think he thinks he's going to be leaving and going to play well next year. I think he really believes that. I don't think this is about hyping up Tony's trade value. I think Jerry's scared. Like, I like this young quarterback, but this old guy has another year or two in him, and I hope it doesn't come bite us in the rear end.
You know, I was thinking about this question when I saw the producers put it down. I thought, I wonder if Jerry's thinking his final memory of the season is Aaron Rowland hitting Jared Cook. And Jerry's like, I got the offensive line, I got the receiver, I got the quarterback, I got my coach, boy, I could use some defense. And I don't think Jerry is going to lose a lot of sleep losing a backup quarterback. I think Jerry says to himself, I have a Super Bowl offense for 7 years. We need players on the other side. And I think he looks at that and thinks, Green Bay stole a chance to play for the Super Bowl. We got better players than them. I got to get a defense. And I think that in itself makes Jerry think, I got to face Aaron Rodgers, I got to face Matt Ryan. Only way I'm going to beat him, I got my offense is defense. And I think that will take over his thoughts because Jerry wants a Super Bowl, the highest stage for a guy that likes big stages.
Here's where I come in my angle. Number one, Jerry's a businessman. This is a business. He understands the nature of this business. You say he's not hyping up the trade. I disagree with that. Yes, he is.
You think that's all it's about?
I don't think that's all it's about. But when you've seen into your future, and it looks real bright, it looks real good with Ezekiel Elliott and a Dak Prescott, young, talented team, you tell me you're going to forfeit. You know what? I'll put that future that I've seen look very bright, have success, young rookies. I'll pause for a second. Let me bring in what hasn't really worked. It's been good for moments. It kind of gets hurt here and there, kind of gets crippled here and there. We stall out here and there. I've seen my future, but let me go back. No one does that.
Owner go to the football games to see his grandson with a player, though. I think there is a real personal connection.
Well, one thing about Jerry Jones, and I think that I'm very good friends with some of the great Cowboys. Jerry, he's a man's man. I mean, he loves his football. And he loves his football players.
Yeah.
And he loves them from the time you interact with him. And if you have a relationship with Jerry Jones, he is consistent about the love that he gives to the players. That's one of the reasons why guys like to go to Dallas. It's not only the show and everything, but the owner actually loves and cares enough about the players. But the truth of the matter, this is about business. I hadn't already gave you $127 million. I could care less what's going to happen to you.
Absolutely.
I mean, real talk. I done made you rich, boy. I'm the one that gave you your chance. So now, this is the best thing. Let me be quiet so I might increase value, because also Tony Romo might be stuck in Dallas. And if you open up your mouth now, you let the cat out the bag, you also let other teams know what you might be doing, and that's not the most advantageous situation to bring value to Tony Romo or your team. He's a commodity. Bill Parcells taught me that. Players are a commodity, and when you have commodities, you don't just give them away.
Right.
So be quiet, get the highest price, and if you don't get the right price, I have him sitting right over there on the bench watching my grandson play next year, watching Dak for the Cowboys.
He's the guy that ran his mouth all year.
Now he's telling us to be quiet.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Well, I mean, but we've always, I mean, he's got a little Mark Cuban. I mean, he likes to talk. He likes the stage. But that doesn't mean he's not honest every time. Jerry, every time he talks, is honest in that moment. He just changes his mind. He is prone to vanity. He's prone to being in front of the microphone. Doesn't mean he's dishonest. He just, Mark Cuban.
I think he's very honest.
I do too. Mark Cuban's all over the map. One day this, one day that. But they,
Right.
Not all billionaires are the same. Some are temperamental, some are tech guys, some are real estate oil tycoons. Some guys are quiet, Stan Kroenke, you never see in public. Jerry's on TV twice a week.
Yeah, some of them wear hats in disguise.
All right, welcome back. We're joined again by Eric Mangini and Greg Jennings. Let's move to Houston, where the Falcons will take on the Patriots in Super Bowl 51 on Fox. Matt Ryan has led one of the most prolific offenses in NFL history this year, but the Patriots have the league's top scoring defense, which is noteworthy because 5 of the 6 times the top offense played the top defense in the Super Bowl, the defense got the win. The only exception is in 1989 when the 49ers hammered the Broncos. Colin, knowing that, does the Pats D have the edge over the Falcons offense?
Who coaches the Patriots D? I mean, who's the vision for it?
Bill Belichick.
I'll take that side. I'll take that side.
Who has an offense that utilizes every weapon they have? They throw the ball to you if you got close to being on the field. Ryan.
Can I say this as your friend? You get very emotional. You fall in love, you fall in love every week with another team. And I have to come in here and say, my young journalist.
No.
I want you to take a deep breath.
Colin.
You're dissing Brady, culture, Super Bowls, Belichick.
No, I'm looking at an offense that has thrown touchdown passes to more different receivers than any team in the history of the NFL.
With 4 rookies on defense and 27th ranked. And by the way, in that division, they played Jameis Winston. Cam was awful this year. You're going to meet the most surgical quarterback of my lifetime. By the way, Drew Brees, pretty surgical. How did Drew do against that Atlanta defense?
Playing against a guy who is playing right now at as high a level as we've seen from the quarterback position, other than what I saw from Aaron Rodgers. Matt Ryan and Julio Jones and these running backs and the tight end, I think it's a unique problem for the Patriots defense.
Well, here's the deal with the Patriots defense. It's a rule-based defense. There's a lot of communication and a lot of adjustments. Okay, so that's one level. The way that Atlanta plays offense is there's shifting, there's motioning, there's bunch formations, there's empty, there's multiple personnel groups, so there's multiples of multiples. And if you try to adjust all that, it creates a huge amount of problems. I think if New England takes that initiative, takes that away from them, and rolls or spins the Rolodex, makes Matt Ryan, makes Kyle Shanahan worry about what they're doing. That, to me, is the best way to stop this offense.
Don't you have to have great players to do that? Again, the Patriots, to me, are winning with a system more than any dominant player.
No, the way that they do it defensively is they're going to make you play left-handed. You're not going to come out of the game and say, we beat them with our best players. So Julio Jones is going to get doubled. Now, the issue is whether they can formation him so that becomes a problem. And I'll tell you this, dealing with Mike Shanahan for years and years, one of the greatest things he did was find your one or two weaknesses and exploit that. Now, if Kyle does that, as opposed to having a huge menu, I think that puts them in the best spot. Looks like he's already got a head coaching job, so you don't got to win through style. You just have to win, so you better find those weaknesses, you better exploit it, and you better stick with it.
Okay, it's funny how we can pull stats. This is 6 times this has happened. This will be the 7th. Offense, defense, number one offense, number one scoring defense. I'm an offensive guy. Coach, no disrespect to defense. When you hear the saying, defense wins championships, what defense has won a championship where there hasn't been points on the board?
Well, last year, Denver a couple years ago was a complete outlier. The Broncos a couple years ago, or last year, actually.
Well, we did in New England when we beat the greatest show on turf, and the issue there was they were trying to, instead of running the ball, they were trying to win in a way that was flashy, and it killed them.
Right, March's ego got
but look at what we're looking at right now. This year, is the Patriots defense dominant?
Not in my opinion.
No, they are not dominant. When you look at the teams that they've played, number one, they haven't played an offense like this that can beat you from the backfield. And I'm gonna stick with. I'm not gonna even talk about Julio and the perimeter guys. And I'm a receiver. I'm gonna talk about their backfield. Freeman and Coleman. You get those guys running in space against those linebackers. You're telling me advantage Patriots?
But the issue is they're not going to run in space. That's the deal. New England's going to set the edge in the running game. They're going to force them to play in the box. They're going to double team Julio. And then they've got to do something that forces Matt Ryan and Kyle Shanahan to sit on the sideline and go, how are we going to deal with that?
Generally in these big games, we predict what's going to happen. And it doesn't happen. So all we're talking about is fireworks show Atlanta and that poor Patriot D. Tom Brady manipulates that Pittsburgh defense. I mean, it was embarrassing. 5 blown coverages. Atlanta plays 4 rookies on defense. And by the way, you know what rookies don't do during games? They don't adjust. They come out, they play what they play. And Tom's going to go, I know what they're doing. Because they're not. This is not Rob Ninkovich. These aren't guys that have been in the league, Luke Kuechly, that have been here. They look at Tom, Ray Lewis. They communicate. They shift. Atlanta's going to come out and say, this is what we do. We're fast. And we're young.
And that's why you have a coach. That's why you acquire a coach like Dan Quinn that can make sure that these guys are channeled and locked in. They may be young, but they're here for a reason. They're here because of those young guys. They don't hang their hat on defense. We're not saying that they hang their hat on defense. I don't think that they're going to take for granted what the Patriots bring as an offense opposition. We know what they're going to do. But what my point is, there is no way I would be shocked if, and Belichick is great. The Patriots, they understand, they do one of the better jobs in the league of canceling out your biggest threat. But canceling out your entire offense?
Not gonna happen. All right, welcome back. Jason McIntyre is back with us, and joining the panel now is NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Let's talk LeBron James, who's been angry this week as the Cavs have lost 5 of their last 7. Apparently, LeBron isn't happy with the makeup of his team, saying, quote, we have a top-heavy team. We top-heavy as bleep. I think LeBron's being ridiculous since he's the main reason he made the team top-heavy in the first place. But his complaints speak to my larger point, which is that super teams like Cleveland and Golden State are actually bad for the NBA. It's no one to watch, Colin. Do you agree?
I generally haven't. I think they're great. June through July? Because, I think the payoff at the end is great. Do I think it eliminates a lot of storylines for 6 months? Yes. Now, let's be honest. The NFL is so big, they dominate all sports coverage till February 5th. And then college basketball swoops in for about 3 weeks. But I do sense, to a larger degree than I would have predicted, that Kevin Durant's move to Golden State has eliminated OKC as an interesting team, a viable team, and we're kind of running out of storylines. That part I agree with.
I'm going to add one extra layer, Chris, and I'm going to hand it to you. These guys make so much money now. And when you make that kind of money and I really don't have a chance to win the NBA Finals, again, when I watch games, I don't see the regular season doesn't seem as meaningful to some of the players.
I think for hardcore fans like us who are going to watch no matter what and going to be interested, it's terrible. Because let's face it, there's 3 teams at most. A lot of people don't even throw San Antonio in there. But you got Cleveland, Golden State. We know they're going to the finals for the most part. So for us, it's bad during the regular season. But for the league overall, I do think it's good because super teams bring in the casual fan. When, like you said, in June, that woman that doesn't follow the NBA, but everybody at the office is talking about Steph Curry playing LeBron James, they're going to come and watch those games. The 10 highest rated finals games on ABC all involve super teams. Remember in the 80s, you had super teams, the Lakers of Magic Johnson and the Celtics of Larry Bird. That was the greatest era maybe in the NBA history, and it was super teams. But the Bulls were a super team with Jordan.
It's always been top-heavy, even during Jordan's era. I don't even know. It's like even as good as Alabama is, Clemson's beating them, Ole Miss can beat them, there's players. It feels like there's 2 teams. It's a 2-team league.
That's why I said, but doesn't that bring in the casual fan who later?
It's January.
Yeah, my mom knows about Steph Curry because she, was a huge fan last year.
What's your traffic on the NBA?
Yeah, it's down a little bit this year because there aren't great storylines. However, it's monster in June and July because of the creation of super teams.
It's January.
Yeah, so it's not great right now. There's not a lot of storylines.
The question is the payoff worth it? But is being hot in June
when our former employer paid $1.4 billion on average, they didn't just pay that for a month. Yeah. And here's they paid that for 6 months, and they're getting no payoff for 5.
We talked about this in the NFL. Is there too much NBA on TV? It's on 4 nights a week now, and there's League Pass. If you expose it every single night, you flip on, there's not that many viable teams to watch, and that hurts.
That's a good point, because when you had the Lakers and Celtics in the 80s, you didn't have this much NBA on TV. So maybe it didn't feel as much like all these mediocre teams.
I think the NBA is remarkably popular considering D.C., Philly, New York, L.A.
All really down.
Seriously, how is it this popular? All right, welcome back. Chris Carter back with us. Joining the panel now, founder of thebiglead.com, Jason McIntyre. Let's talk Deshaun Watson. Interesting player who might have skipped the Senior Bowl, but according to Dabo Sweeney, should still be the #1 pick in this year's draft. In fact, Dabo likened his old college quarterback to another star who was passed over in the draft.
I'm just telling you, they pass on Deshaun Watson, they're passing on Michael Jordan. I'm just telling you. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I'm just an old funky college coach, but Deshaun Watson is the best by a long shot.
All right, ridiculous to make a comparison like that?
No, I really don't. And when I look at the Browns, 49ers, Bears, Jaguars, 4 teams at the top of the draft, they all need a quarterback. And if somehow he makes it past that group, I do think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what were they thinking? They had a chance to get Deshaun Watson. And to me, after looking at the season Dak Prescott just had, and again, none of these teams are the Cowboys. They're not going to go into a ready-made situation. But after looking at Dak Prescott and what he just did, if you can't visualize and say, well, damn, I think Deshaun Watson can do that and maybe a little more, I don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about him is he's got 36 college games against Oklahoma, Bama twice, Ohio State, Louisville, Florida State. The ACC is a much better conference that he faced than it was in the previous 5 years. Rich McKay, who built Tampa into a Super Bowl team, Rich, in Atlanta, told me something years ago, and I was just peppering him on the draft. He said, man, I like guys who played in big conferences, in big TV games, and faced pros. This kid's faced Alabama, Urban Meyer. And he's generally been better in those games than he was against North Carolina State, which tells me he can get bored, but when the lights are shining, he rises, and I think that's what makes all the great players. They're better in crisis.
Right. Well, if you watch the first 5 games of the season, I did Dabo. I'm just some little raggedy little analyst. He didn't look like Michael Jordan. Now, he looked like Michael Jordan in last year's national championship game, but to start the season, no. It was like he was sleepwalking, just trying to get through the draft. Now, middle part of the season, end of the season, he caught fire, put a record-breaking performance on Alabama to win the national championship. All those things would lead me to believe, I believe he's a better pro prospect than the quarterbacks we had last year. I believe he's better than Carson Wentz. I believe he's better than Jared Goff. And those guys were 1 and 2 in the draft. So I believe he should be in the top 5, depending on teams and their needs.
Are you a little concerned, though? This is the one concern I would throw back. He is 6'2", 210. He's not big. I like Matt Ryan in a dome more than I would in...
Right.
But I'm saying it worries me. The teams that need quarterbacks are all in these cold, windy outdoor stadiums.
This is his thing. He doesn't have a small frame. He's not Johnny Manziel. He's not RG3. He's 6'2". He's not as big and wide as Brett Favre, but Brett Favre is 6'2". Aaron Rodgers is about 6'1".
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, and he's got smaller shoulders.
What about his arm?
He's got a good arm.
Okay.
He's got a good arm, and he throws and makes different reads. But I'm on Michael Jordan. I mean, I saw Michael Jordan in high school. And there's nothing besides them being human beings that were alike. Okay?
Yeah, nothing else. Now, Colin, you made a great point with size because in this silly draft season online, that's what people fall in love with. Carson Wentz, 6'5", big arm, right? They love these shiny new things. Mitch Trubisky, guys, the North Carolina quarterback, he's the odds-on favorite in Vegas to be the #1 quarterback taken.
Wow.
That is crazy when you consider Deshaun Watson's body of work. You said it, 30-plus starts. 2 amazing games against Bama. This is crazy, and that's why I'm siding with Whitlock.
You could make an argument that the 3 programs in college football right now with the most NFL players are Ohio State, Florida State, and Alabama. And he's slayed them, okay? So that Alabama, Florida State, you got 30 NFL guys there. I've seen him against NFL guys.
He almost had 900 yards against Alabama in 2 games.
Better not get past the Jets at 6. This is the Speak for Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Hey, guys, thanks for subscribing on iTunes, following us on Twitter. Super Bowl week almost here. Houston's going to be on and popping. The guest list for our show is ridiculous. It's like getting into one of those high-end clubs where you got to be on the list. Oh, my gosh. Next week's going to be off the hook. All right, guys, see you tomorrow.